Will the recession cause a massive wave of layoffs? And, the first question people are asking is, well, is a recession here? If you're looking at all the different economic factors, I think the answer to that is yes, right? And certain people will tell you, no, we're not in a recession. But let's just look at what happened in January, the end of December, January, when we saw a huge round of layoffs in the tech sector, right? We saw layoffs at Amazon and Google. And so that technology space for the longest time had never been impacted. We'd never seen anything like it. And all of a sudden, these tech jobs now people are losing, right? And then what starts to roll out right after the tech layoffs? AI. And so people are thinking, well, AI is the next thing that's going to take over my job. Well, where it won't take over your job necessarily is in manufacturing, right? In the United States, we need to add manufacturing jobs. So the real question is, are we seeing a slowdown in adding manufacturing? Are we seeing a layoff in the manufacturing sector? And that will really be a true sign of how bad this recession could be. The next question you really want to know is, well, how is this going to impact me, right? I have a car, I have some credit card debt, I have a home. What's going to be the impact to me? Well, if your job is secure, you're not going to have too much of an impact. And if the loans you took out are on a fixed interest rate, again, you're not going to have much of an impact. And what you are seeing is the Federal Reserve coming out every so often and raising interest rates, right? That quarter point or that half point raise, and they've been doing it consistently for a long time now. Those raises in interest rates are part of their way to tamper inflation. And so the impact that you would have on any new loans is you're going to see higher interest rate for loans, right? You're seeing that in the housing market and in mortgages. It's really front facing in the news because people went from paying 2 to 3% for interest rate on a mortgage to now 6 and 7%. And I've heard even higher, crazier things on commercial real estate. So if you're worried about your loans, you want to take a look at them, because if they're not fixed interest rate loans, the next time those interest rates adjust, you may be in for a world of hurt, right? Because if your interest rate was 3% and now all of a sudden it goes up to 5% or 7%, that's going to be a lot more money that comes out of your world that you're having to pay in interest now. So these are things that you want to be aware of and be taking a look at as you're preparing for the things that are coming. The next question is, should I have cash on hand? And I think the answer to that is always yes, right? You need to have some sort of emergency savings, because a potential layoff is exactly what that is for, right? If you have a short-term stoppage of your cash flow, how are you going to pay your bills, right? How are you going to make that mortgage payment or rent payment? How are you going to pay for the car? All the other things, food, all of these things need to be covered. So should you have cash on hand? Yeah, you should have something on hand. And what we just saw recently is people lining up around the banks, right? Why? Because they were scared that the banks were not going to have any money. They were scared that the banks had put themselves in such a bad position that when they went to go and get their cash out, that it wouldn't be there. Now, the government stepped in and backed them up on that, but that just shows you what kind of fear is in the marketplace today. So when the question is a recession looming? I mean, just look at the news, look at the headlines, and look at the reaction of people, right? People are scared. So should you have some cash on hand? Yeah, I think you should have some cash on hand. If for the most part, if you get into a situation where you can't work or you don't have income, you need to be able to pay those monthly expenses and be able to get food on the table. So yeah, you should have cash on hand. The bigger question is, if you're watching this video, how nervous are you about where you are in your job and in your career? Are you secure in that company and feeling like you're going to be okay? Or are you nervous that, I don't know, I might not make this next round, or you're seeing waves of layoffs inside of your company? If that's the case, then you definitely want to be taking those steps to make sure that, one, you do have a strong cash position. God forbid something happens and you're not able to work, right? But secondly, you want to take a look at, well, what are the debts that I have? What are the things that I need to pay, and prioritize that, right? Obviously, mortgage first or rent first, and then your car payment, transportation, whatever it is, and food, right? That make sure you have enough set aside for that. Start to prioritize those things, and then start to look at, well, where are the avenues that I can cut? Because if you're not able to save up or have a good cash position right now, you need to start to get into that position. And it might be that you have too much in spending on things that you might not necessarily need. So if you're in that position where you think, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this round of layoffs, you want to start looking at that now. Don't wait for something to happen. A lot of the people that we work with that are in tech end up doing consulting. So are there companies that you could consult for that are in line with the jobs you're already doing, right? And can you create some sort of 1099 income with, maybe one or two small clients that take up a little bit of your time, add some extra income for you, but God forbid something happens and you lose that job, you can easily take that company that you've created and that consulting that you're doing and go out and market that to other people. If you're doing that, you're putting yourself in a good position regardless of a recession. And that's really the way you want to think about these things, is regardless of there being a recession or not, what are the steps that you're doing to take care of yourself, your family, and put more income in your pocket? We went through what a recession could do and causing layoffs, some of the steps that you could do to really create a game plan for yourself, whether or not that recession impacts your industry, right? But if you're looking for more help and you want to speak to a team member, click in the description box below. One of the team members can reach out to you and start to help you with a game plan. We can look at all the things coming into your world, all the monies going out of your world. Are you properly allocated? Are you in a position of strength? And really looking to figure out what are the right next steps for you. So go ahead, click the link below, and a team member will reach out.